Okay, let's jump right in today. We're looking at a book with a title that, well, it definitely makes you stop and look twice. Shut the Fuck Up by Lily Winsaft.
It certainly does. And the subtitle kind of hints at why it's apparently the book your ego hopes you never read.
Exactly. So our plan for this deep dive is to pull out some key excerpts, some really core ideas from Lily Winsaft's work. We want to explore how she suggests we can quiet down all that noise.
Both the external stuff, the world is shouting at us,
Yeah.
and that relentless internal chatter we all have.
Right. The goal is to get to that inner truth she talks about. So we're aiming to give you a real flavor of the wisdom in these pages.
A compelling taste, hopefully enough to see the power in it and maybe, make you want to explore the whole thing yourself.
So where does she start? What's the foundational idea here?
Well, she sets up this central conflict pretty clearly. It's what she calls the outer voice versus the inner voice.
Okay, outer voice. That sounds like what you were just saying. Society expectations.
Precisely. It's all that external programming, societal norms, media, maybe even things our parents said, plus our own fears that just echo all that stuff. It's loud.
Yeah, definitely loud. So the inner voice is the opposite.
That's the idea. It's quieter. It's the voice of your soul, she calls it. Your intuition, your authentic self, the deep down truth of who you are, underneath all the external layers.
And she makes this really concrete with stories from her own life, right? I found those quite striking.
Oh, absolutely. They ground the whole concept. Like even the title itself.
Yeah.
It didn't just come out of nowhere.
No, it came from her mother, saying something like, "With your mouth closed, you look so much prettier," which sounds harsh.
It does, initially. But Winsaft kind of reclaims it. She reframes it not as a comment on looks, but as accidental wisdom about finding clarity.
How so?
Well, the power wasn't in literally keeping quiet to look pretty, but in the act of silencing the noise, the urge to speak, react, engage with the external, to actually listen inwards. She turned that outer voice comment into an instruction for inner listening.
Huh. That's a really interesting twist. And there's something from her father, too, about filtering information.
Yes, that was crucial. The eat the flesh and spit out the bones analogy. It's powerful.
So take what nourishes you and discard the rest.
Exactly. It's all about discernment.
Yeah.
Being able to engage with teachers, books, ideas, anything external. Really take what resonates with your inner voice, what genuinely serves you, and consciously leave behind what doesn't. It's about protecting your own inner knowing.
Which feels incredibly important today with just the sheer volume of information and opinions coming at us constantly.
It's almost a survival skill now, isn't it? Trusting yourself as the ultimate filter.
She definitely argues for its power. She connects listening to this inner voice to overcoming some really significant life challenges she faced.
Yeah, she talks about navigating divorce, a really tough one, and also dealing with this mysterious, debilitating illness that doctors couldn't explain. And a major career change, too.
And she credits tuning out that outer voice, the fear, the doubt, the shoulds, and learning to trust her inner voice for getting through those. She even mentions specific healing.
She experienced what she describes as pretty miraculous shifts, like significant physical healing from that illness, partly through something called transformational breath.
Okay, what's that?
It's a specific type of conscious breathing technique. The idea is it helps release stored trauma, stuck energy, and emotional blockages held in the body, allowing healing to happen on a deeper level. For her, it was a key part of silencing the internal noise of symptoms and connecting to healing.
Wow. So listening inward had tangible physical results for her. That leads into some of the more maybe surprising concepts in the book.
Definitely. She pushes the boundaries of conventional thinking quite a bit. Take forgiveness, for instance.
Right. Usually we think of it as pardoning someone who wronged us.
Sure. But she suggests sometimes true forgiveness is actually realizing forgiveness wasn't the point. From a higher perspective, maybe that difficult person or situation was part of a soul contract.
A soul contract, like an agreement made before this life.
That's the concept. An agreement your soul made for the purpose of growth,
Yeah.
learning specific lessons. So the challenging experience wasn't random victimhood, it was purposeful, even if painful. Seeing it that way can shift everything. You don't need to forgive in the traditional sense, but understand the role it played.
That's a massive reframe, moving away from blame entirely.
It is.
Yeah.
And she applies a similar kind of radical thinking to the mind-body connection. She talks about emotions and beliefs having like a physical structure.
A molecular structure influencing our DNA. That sounds quite out there.
It challenges the common view, for sure. the idea that we're just victims of our genetic lottery. She posits that our thoughts, feelings, our internal state, they're not just floating around in our heads, they have a tangible reality that can actually interact with and influence our physical blueprint, our DNA.
So you're not just stuck with your genes. You can potentially influence your physical health through your inner world.
That's the implication. It puts a lot of power back in your hands, suggesting your consciousness plays a direct role in your physical reality. It's a call to take responsibility for your internal environment.
Which sounds potentially overwhelming, but she makes it accessible too, right? Like with meditation.
Yeah, she doesn't frame meditation as only sitting silently on a cushion for an hour, which is a relief for many people.
Definitely.
She emphasizes presence, being fully present in mundane, everyday activities, doing the dishes, walking down the street, really being there, that counts. That's also a way to connect inward, to quiet the mental static. It's about awareness in action, not just stillness.
I like that. It feels more achievable. And she offers practical tools as well. I remember something about questions.
Yes, the power of asking high-frequency questions. This is a really tangible tool.
Okay, what makes a question high frequency versus low frequency?
Low-frequency questions tend to come from a place of victimhood or powerlessness.
Yeah.
Like, why is this awful thing happening to me? Or, why me? They keep you stuck.
We've all asked those.
Absolutely. High-frequency questions, though, shift your perspective towards empowerment and learning. So instead, you might ask, why did I choose this experience on some level? Or, what is this situation here to teach me? Or, how can I grow from this?
Ah, okay. It immediately shifts the focus from blame or helplessness to purpose and agency.
Exactly. Just changing the question changes your energy and opens you up to insights rather than reinforcing the problem. It's a simple but profound shift.
And all these tools, these concepts, they seem to lead back to one core idea she keeps mentioning, discernment.
Discernment, yes. She calls it your superpower and is directly linked to what she terms your sovereignty.
Sovereignty, that sounds regal. What does she mean by it in this context?
It's about your fundamental inherent authority, your authority to decide what is true, not universally true for everyone, but what is true for you.
So trusting your own inner voice, your own experience above anything or anyone else.
Precisely. It's the ultimate act of self-trust and self-ownership. Discernment is the tool you use to protect that sovereignty, to filter everything through your own inner knowing and decide what aligns with your truth. It's about not giving your power away to external authorities or even your own internal critic.
Wow, okay. So we've touched on quite a few big ideas here, the outer versus inner voice, the stories, soul contracts, influencing DNA, accessible presence, high frequency questions, sovereignty.
And honestly, it feels like we've just, dipped our toes in. The book goes much deeper into each of these, weaving them together with more personal narrative and practical exercises.
Right, this is really just a glimpse, isn't it? A few key highlights to show the kind of thinking Winsaft offers, and shut the fuck up.
Definitely. The real power comes from engaging with the full context, the nuances, the journey she lays out.
So tying it all together then, what's the ultimate takeaway if someone only remembers one thing?
I think the core message is really about reclaiming your power. It's that by consciously learning to use discernment to filter the noise, both external and internal, and by actively choosing to listen to that quieter inner voice, that's how you access your own deepest wisdom.
And live more authentically based on your own truth.
Exactly. It's about moving from being directed by the outside world or your own conditioned fears to being guided by your inner compass.
So hopefully this deep dive has given you, the listener, a good sense of what this book is about, a few pieces of that flesh to chew on, using her father's analogy.
Mm-hmm. If any of these ideas sparked something in you, the outer-inner voice distinction, the reframing of forgiveness, the power of questions, imagine what digging into the whole book might uncover for you.
It definitely feels like a starting point for a potentially transformative journey.
Which brings us to a final thought to leave you with, pulled straight from the source, something that really sums up that journey.
What's that?
Sovereignty is the authority to decide what is true for you.
That really lands. Deciding what is true for you. That's the challenge and the invitation, isn't it?
It is. And Winsaft's book essentially offers a roadmap, or perhaps more accurately, a set of tools and perspectives to help you navigate that very personal, very vital quest for your own truth.
A powerful place to start or continue that exploration. Definitely worth considering if these ideas resonate.